people who say climate change isn't happening. Houston, you had a 1 in 50,000 year storm. You had 5 days of rain. You had as much rain here in 5 days as flows over Niagara Falls in an entire year. And that's happening now in many places frequently. Why? Because of the warming of the ocean. The warming of the ocean produces more moisture in the air. It fills the intensity of storms. It creates more flooding. And one of the reasons we have greater fires in California and elsewhere is because the flooding creates rapid growth of brush and fauna where it wouldn't grow before, so there's more to burn. So you get an unholy, unvirtuous cycle going on here, folks. And I've worked on this issue for 30 years. Just 2 days ago, there was a report that the Trump administration has a report now that came out from the EPA or somewhere acknowledging that the warming of the earth is going to take place up to 4 degrees centigrade, 7 degrees Fahrenheit in this century. But you know what the Trump response to that is? Oh, it's going to happen anyway, so we can lift the tailpipe restrictions. We don't need to worry about emissions on tailpipes because it's going to happen anyway. Folks, it doesn't have to happen anyway. It's the course we are on track to meet. But if we do, and I negotiated the Paris Agreement, if we do what we set out to do with Paris and more, we have the solution to the crisis of climate change. You know what it is? Energy policy. Energy policy. If we produce our electricity, drive our cars, produce things in a way that reins in the level of emissions, we can still prevent the worst damage of climate change. And I want you all to go Google this. Just go Google the report. And when you read the report, you will see where we're heading unless we do the things that we could do. And you'll see what it says, how catastrophic it is. We'll have refugees in the world in places we don't have them today. We'll lose rivers and water in places we do have it today. We'll have food production crises. I mean, it is catastrophic. This is truly life and death. I'm not trying to hype it. It is. And it's why I've spent the time on it. And so.
Do you have some hopes after the Trump administration pulling out of Paris climate accords?
I do, and I'm glad you asked that. That's Randall. Thank you for getting me on an important point here, folks. This is why this is actually another reason why I'm really optimistic, folks. Donald Trump pulls out of the Paris Agreement. You can't officially be legally out of the agreement until one day after the 2020 election. Is that motivation or not? But leaving that aside, the day he announced this, I was on the phone with governors. Governors were on the phone with each other. I was on the phone with mayors and people. We were all sort of humming, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Guess what? 38 states in the United States of America have already passed renewable portfolio laws requiring them to move towards alternative, renewable, sustainable energy. And those 38 states represent 80% of the population of the United States of America. So, mayors, more than 1,000 mayors have come together. The mayor of every major city in our country, including here, all the major city mayors have agreed that they're going to continue to try to do what's necessary to avoid the worst consequences. So they're going to do recycling, they'll do building codes, they'll do transportation initiatives, they'll require certain standards for fleet purchase of automobiles for the city or other. I mean, there are a whole bunch of things you can do. And here's the result. The result is that Donald Trump may have pulled out of the Paris Agreement, but what I'm able to say to people around the world, the American people are still in it and still committed to try to meet this agreement.